That we're joined by retired firefighter Keith Richardson, who is going to take us through the fire engine display. Keith, it's all yours.
Thanks very much, Scott. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a huge welcome to Emergency Truckfest. Can we first of all say a big thanks yet again to the Live Promotions for allowing us this opportunity to display fire appliances, both new and old. It's a brilliant weekend for us, and we're very, very grateful. For those of you that have been here before, you'll find some new stuff this year that you haven't seen before. So we'll just be getting the show underway. You're going to see a pretty wide selection of appliances coming in. Some of them are old, and some of them are very old. What we've got coming into the arena at various stages, we've got some appliances that are old, some of them very old, some of them are new, some of them very new, some of them are big, some of them very big. Okay, so what we've got here immediately in front of us at the moment are three brand new Scottish Fire and Rescue appliances. So these are current appliances that are in service with the Scottish Fire and Rescue. The big appliance that you see parallel to the arena is an aerial ladder platform, supplemented by the larger of the two appliances is a pumping appliance, and the smaller one is a new concept for Scottish Fire and Rescue. It's a rapid response vehicle which has been designed primarily for use in some of our more remote areas of the country. That actually carries a lot of kit, despite its size, and it has a very impressive piece of equipment called a Cobra coal cutter, which effectively can cut through concrete using high pressure water. So three examples there of the modern fleet from Scottish Fire and Rescue. What we need to recognise, a lot of appliances you're going to see are indeed privately owned, and it takes years and years to bring them back to the condition that you're seeing them in. The first one we've got coming in, and this is one of the older appliances. This is a wartime appliance. We're talking the grey one here with the trailer pump, manufactured in their thousands during the war to combat the effects of the Blitz, primarily on London, Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, but also very much Clydebank, for those of you that come from that neck of the woods. Okay, we also have following on is a Dennis F8 appliance. Dennis was a long-term manufacturer, sadly no longer producing appliances, but this Dennis S8, resident up in the Aberdeen area, and that's a 1951 appliance. Followed by there's actually three of them coming in actually. This is a bit like Edinburgh Corporation buses. You don't have any for a while, and all of a sudden they all come at once. This is the first time that we've actually had Green Goddesses at the Truckfest. So we've got three of them. The first one is dark green, as you can see, followed by the red one, and the last one is also green. They were actually all originally green, produced in the 1950s to combat the effects of what was thought to be a very real threat of invasion from the Soviet Union during the Cold War crisis. These were kept in storage for many, many years, and they were in fact used during the firemen's strikes of 1977-78 and later on. They're very solid, robust appliances these, and they were worth their weight in gold. The appliance we've now got coming in is an ex-Lothian Borders Dodge. Again, another well-used chassis for appliances during the 70s and the 80s. This appliance was actually the first appliance to run out of the new Tollcross fire station in Edinburgh when it opened in 1986. So that's a pretty unusual vehicle here. Aha! Now, what we've got here is another interesting appliance. This is again an ex-Lothian Borders appliance. It's first of a type of water tender, ladder, emergency tender, but the interesting thing that I do want to point out is the driver's name is Jim. Now, take note of that, his name is Jim. And Jim on Monday has got a fairly significant birthday. So what I want you to do is, after the count of three, can I ask you please to all say happy birthday Jim at the top of your voice. 1, 2, 3. On you go, young man. Okay, we're looking now at the first of the Scanias. Scania, again, a widely used chassis in the UK fire service and indeed in European countries. We've got a good selection of them. I think that one is at the ex-Greenock appliance, yeah. Manufactured by former Fulton & Wiley, which is now known as Emergency One. So we've got another Scania again. These were the bread and butter of the pumping appliances, not just only in Scotland, but certainly throughout the UK for many, many years. As you can understand, the fire appliances are built in all sorts of chassis. Mainly nowadays it tends to be Scania, Volvo, MAN, with a few others thrown in, but these are the main ones. Okay, we've got a Volvo on an FL6 chassis. Again, this is I think the ex-Rossi appliance, which served there for many, many years and was subsequently taken into private ownership after a major mechanical defect. But it's great to see it back running well, and it's part of the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service Heritage Trust. Okay, we're moving on to Dennis's now. We mentioned earlier on that Dennis were a long-term manufacturer, a highly reputable company. They produced appliances for really most of the brigades in the UK at one stage used Dennis's, and that's a typical example. That was the Dennis Rapier, very, very fast and believed to be the best handling of all, known as the bullet. Step up, we've got the Dennis Sabre, another one. This is ex-Dounreay actually. So the Atomic Energy Authority up in the north of Scotland, Dounreay appliance. It doesn't glow in the dark, so you're okay, you can get quite close to it, no fears about that. Another Dennis, this time again it's a Sabre. This is the ex-Dorset appliance, I think, if I'm correct. Yeah, ex-Dorset Fire and Rescue, finding itself a home now up in Scotland. A white appliance, Scania. For a while, the old Grampian Fire and Rescue had all their appliances painted white on the basis that it was improved visibility. This particular appliance is the one that's based at Gordonston School. As some of you may be aware, the school at Gordonston has educated many of our royal families over the years, and that is part of their establishment. Moving on to Land Rovers. Again, Land Rovers came on the scene in the late 40s, early 50s. They've been used for all sorts of things, including fire appliances. And you can see the first one coming in, actually no, I think that's an Austin Gypsy, isn't it? Yeah, the first one. Apologies for that. The Austin Gypsy was the attempt to steal the limelight from Land Rover, and again, they were reasonably successful. So we move on to Land Rovers themselves. Again, we've got, I think, 3 coming here under different configurations. They were excellent for particularly industrial brigades, and you can see the one that's passing us at the moment is Uniroyal, which was literally about 2 miles out the road at Newbridge, and we've got the last one following up is Lucas. So Land Rovers, yeah, very, very useful little appliances used by industrial brigades, but also by some of the rural communities as well. A slight step up, the Land Rovers, etc., they were smaller appliances. We're moving up to what we call middies. The first one we've got coming in here is on the Bedford CF chassis. This is, I think this is ex-Highlands and Islands. Yeah, it is indeed. Some of these were actually built by the Highlands and Islands Fire Service Workshops staff. Very, very skilled guys up there, and they produced some very, very tidy vehicles, purpose-built for their needs of the Highlands and Islands. Again, the next one is the LDV from the Aberdeen Preservation Group. That's their support vehicle. And again, we've got a similar arrangement from one that's coming at the end is the Dundee Museum of Transport. So it's amazing what you can do with a Bedford CF or an LDV. Okay, something a bit different here. This is a American chemical fire extinguisher, 1923, I think, if I'm not wrong, 1923. Excellent. It was almost a basket case, this, when it was recovered a few years ago, and Eric, the owner driver, has done a sterling job to bring it back, and that is something pretty unusual. As is the next one, crown pumper, typical American pumper from really from the 50s, 60s through the 70s. This is found home in Scotland. It lives up at Blairgowrie, because Blairgowrie is the twin city, or twin town I should say, of Pleasant Town in California, and they very kindly donated their appliance to Blairgowrie, so that was a nice gesture. Okay, moving on to something a bit bigger. We've got here a hydraulic platform. This is ex-Strathclyde, ex-Air, so it's been fully operational for a long number of years, and it's been given to the Heritage Trust, and it's now in their care. So yeah, aerial platforms, aerial ladders, that really is the forerunner of the big one that you see in the centre of the arena that came in first of all. Yeah, I did say some are big and some are very big. What you've got here is an airport crash tender. I would say to you folks, don't be overly concerned if you've got friends or relatives either departing or arriving back at Edinburgh Airport from holidays, because that is one of the reserve appliances. It's not one of their operational vehicles today, so have no fear. There's about £850,000 worth there if you wanted to replace that. So yeah, not something that you want to prime. Another interesting little vehicle, Ineos, who now operate the petrochemical plant at Grangemouth, just along the road from us. This is just recently acquired by them, and it just looks like an ordinary pickup truck, really, with Battenberg markings on it. But it actually has quite a lot of firefighting kit on it, and that could be a very useful appliance should you be unfortunate enough to have an incident on the plant. Yeah, okay, this piece coming in now is known as the Scorpion. This is actually a demonstration vehicle. It's not a fully operational vehicle. It's a demonstration vehicle manufactured by Emergency One at Cumnock. This is a new concept in terms of applying water from a boom. When I say it's a new concept, not strictly true, because in the 1960s the old Glasgow Fire Service actually had what we called scooters, and those of you that have been here before may recall them, the scooter having been here a few years ago. This is a much evolved version of the scooter, and it has, if you're close enough to inspection, it has a spike at the very end which can be driven through concrete and walls and whatever. Right, okay, here's the boys, here they are, the stars of the show, the 1915 Dennis from the Aberdeen Preservation Group, absolute cracker, still running, 105 years down the road, 104, 105 years down the road, and it's still turning a wheel. So well done to the guys, and they've got the period kit, which unfortunately is going to take a bit of a battering in this weather. It's unfortunate. Okay, so we're just going to let them get round the back, and coming into the arena now, we've just seen the oldest appliance that we've got in the parade. And what you're now looking at coming into the arena is another Scania, but this is actually the newest appliance that we've got in the parade. This has just come out of the wrapping. The bubble wrap has just come off it this morning, and if you look carefully, it's not even registered. It's not got number plates. It's on trade plates. Scania and Virtue One have very kindly let us use this at the parade today. So that is a brand new spanking appliance, and it's getting a good old christening this morning or this afternoon. So the last two appliances you've seen coming in there, 1915 and 2019. So what you've actually got there is 104 years of firefighting technology. Okay, we'll just let them get themselves settled down. We've got we're almost at the end of the show, but we've actually got a very pleasurable duty that has to be undertaken, and at this stage I'll pass you back to Scott.
Well done, Keith. I could hear you padding furiously there, as we say in the trade, so I'm going to invite you to stay there for the time being, and we're going to welcome Colin Ward, who's the Managing Director of Live Promotions Events, who are the team behind all of the Truckfest events, Britain's biggest trucking festival, in fact now Europe's biggest trucking festival, and Colin's just going to come down and present a healthy check to I think Andy Hunter. Well done. Andy did our commentary duties yesterday.
Not as good as you, Keith, but he gave it a good crack anyway. But despite that, he's going to be presented with a check from Colin, and the back shot will be wonderful with all the fire appliances there. So here comes Colin. Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. There we are. So this is Colin Ward making the presentation to Andy Hunter. There we are. So our photographer's on the way, well done. That might be a good idea to get the photographer down this side, so we've got the fire appliances in the back. Andy doesn't want to be out in this too long, it's affecting his hair. So if you can, there we are, big smiles. Look at Fireman Sam looking in the back trying to get in the picture as well. There's always one. So big smiles, £1,200 being £1,250 being presented to fire charities from live events. Well done. Colin, get that check over your head, please. There we go. Keith, I'm going to hand it back to you, big fella. Nice stuff. You are a real mate.
Okay, folks, yeah, we're just about to call a halt to it. A couple of thanks from us. A big thanks, first of all, to Martin Blondin, who is the Chief Fire Officer for Scottish Fire and Rescue, for allowing his brand new appliances to be released and come and entertain us today, and also to the Fleet Manager for Scottish Fire and Rescue, Scott Roberts, who keeps these appliances in absolutely tip-top condition. So a big thanks to them. A big thanks also once again to Live Promotions for giving us this opportunity to display old and new. The public, can I please ask you, those of you that are brave enough to still be here, can I ask you please to give your owner drivers a big round of applause. Okay, as a final point, can I please ask the vehicle owners and drivers to reciprocate to your admiring public?